This episode of Community Conversations with NACSA is presented in partnership with Leader to Leader, a podcast from the Charter School Growth Fund.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to NACSACon 2025. And thank you, Marion, for the incredible work that you and TA are doing for students in Texas. Really remarkable. Thank you for being here. So I'd like to start with a story about a family that I recently heard about from a school leader. I've changed their names for purposes of this story, but nothing else. Michelle is the mom of the family, and Maisha is one of her 3 daughters. The family moved to a small Midwestern city that had suffered from decades of disinvestment and neglect. It was tied for the poorest city in the state. Only about 10% of residents had a post-secondary degree, and the local graduation rates had consistently been in the 40% range. While this city had incredible assets, like many longtime residents and vibrant community organizations, it also clearly had many challenges. The family was doing the best they could. Michelle didn't have a degree and was a school bus driver. And while Maisha was a dedicated student, the context they moved to had all the markings of yet more young people likely to fall through the cracks. Now, there's more to share about Michelle and Maisha's story, but let's zoom out now and look at how students across the country are doing academically. Far too many students are not achieving the academic outcomes they deserve, and that comes with grave long-term consequences: lower college enrollment, fewer career opportunities, and diminished economic mobility. And, soberingly, it's students who are already behind academically who are falling behind even more. This chart is one of many examples of a hard truth we must address. Academic outcomes are down overall, but it's the kids that need us the most, those already behind, that are falling the fastest. And let's make sure we don't fall into the old, tired rhetoric of blaming the students. No, every child is brilliant and capable of excellence. The data we are seeing is not something wrong with students. It's a failure of adults and systems. That must change. When we look at student outcomes in charter schools, we see things are different, thankfully, and that's good, but just not good enough. While students that are behind in charters are not dropping, that's not the goal we're all pursuing, nor the reason we got into this work. The goal is to accelerate student outcomes so they are prepared for whatever they choose next. Academic outcomes are not just a data point. They are a critical expression of whether schools are delivering on their core promise to prepare students for the future. Take literacy, for example. Being a proficient reader allows for students to actively and thoughtfully lead in our democracy, analyze competing arguments, and make informed decisions instead of just going along with what they see or hear, and engage in a wide range of ideas that prepares them for an increasingly interconnected world. Being literate also has deeper meaning. So many of our collective ancestors, here and across the globe, may not have been literate themselves, but believed in it so much that they were willing to do whatever it took, including sacrificing their own livelihoods and lives for young people to be able to read. Advancing academic outcomes is not just about moving numbers. It is essential to freedom. Despite the challenges we see now, the picture isn't all bleak. There are reasons to be very hopeful about the future. It's encouraging to see the outcomes from cities and states, like we heard from right here in Texas, showing accelerated student learning. It's terrific to read reports showing that charters with strong outcomes and high market share are helping to advance academics for all public school students. And it's inspiring to learn about schools like the Rice Texas Public Schools, whose leader you'll hear from shortly. Right now, we need to focus like a laser on implementing foundational authorizing policies and practices. That is, setting high standards, ensuring real school autonomy, expanding access to quality schools, and demanding strong outcomes, so that we demonstrate, once again, that charter schools are the example, challenging anyone who believes that some kids can't learn at high levels and be prepared for a good life. That's why NACSA's strategic focus is accelerating academic achievement. Our goal is that 1.5 million students, that's 500,000 more than today, are in high-quality charter schools by 2028. Through opening new high-quality schools, expanding enrollment in existing schools, and ensuring that schools that do not deliver on their promises improve or close, NACSA is committed to expanding quality options for students. Now, we tip our hat to the families, teachers, school leaders, and support staff that do the life-changing work of educating students. But make no mistake, your work as authorizers is critical to achieving our shared goals. And that is an incredible honor and a critical responsibility. You see, authorizing sets the bar for quality. You decide which schools are approved to open. You decide what accountability looks like when schools succeed, when they are improving but not quite there, and when they persistently fail. You play a large role in how much time schools spend on teaching and learning rather than bureaucracy. Over time, the quality of options that students access has everything to do with the decisions authorizers make. And when authorizing focuses on and masters foundational principles, we've seen student outcomes accelerate. Your work matters, not just for governance or compliance, but for kids' futures. Now, let's also not sugarcoat the task in front of us. Accelerating academic achievement is going to be hard and will continue to be hard, especially in the times we are in. There are so many factors pulling us away from focusing on authorizing foundations that accelerate student learning. The decisions you make daily are extraordinarily complicated. They require not only an exceptional level of professional judgment and leadership, but a village that backs you up, challenges you to be better, learns from our collective failures, and celebrates your successes. NACSA is honored to walk alongside you as your trusted partner in this journey, as we have for 25 years now. We remain humbled by this village of more than 500 folks at conference this year, dedicated to finding solutions that improve outcomes for millions of students in schools today and tomorrow. Students like Maisha. When the family moved, her mom, Michelle, saw a yard sign advertising a new K-14 charter school in their area. And wow, was it an incredible fit. Check this out. Maisha graduated high school with not only an honors high school diploma, but an associate's degree at no cost to the family. She then entered a 4-year college as a junior and graduated with her bachelor's degree at age 18. Today, she has also earned a master's and a PhD. Now, Maisha's story of excellence is her own, but there are so many more and different stories of excellence when educational opportunities, like excellent charter schools, allow for the brilliance of young people to shine. Oh, but there's more. Michelle, her mom, was inspired by what her daughter was doing and enrolled in community college herself. She graduated with her associate's degree the same year as her daughter. And after graduating, Michelle transitioned from being a school bus driver to a social worker for the charter school her daughter graduated from. This work matters, y'all. This work matters. And I'm honored to walk alongside you to make the educational opportunities provided for Maisha more the norm. Thank you. And now, friends, it is my sincere pleasure to introduce an incredible leader in charter schooling, Darryl Cobb. Darryl is the president at the Charter School Growth Fund and knows something about accelerating academic outcomes. He and the Growth Fund partner with some of the nation's highest performing charter schools, including many right here in Texas. I'm guessing that was somebody from Texas. Perhaps more importantly, though, I am just so honored to call Darryl my friend. And it is so meaningful to have someone like you with us today. And I'm just deeply grateful to you, good brother Cobb, for arranging your schedule to be with us. Friends, please join me in welcoming Darryl Cobb.
Earlier this year, I had the opportunity with my team to launch a passion project, and it's a podcast called Leader to Leader, where I get to sit down and talk to some of the most amazing leaders across the country. And this morning, we are gonna do a live taping of Leader to Leader with an amazing leader from right here in Houston. So let's kick off another episode of Leader to Leader live at NACSACon. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Adriana Tamez, CEO of Rice Schools here in Houston, Texas. I've been so looking forward to the opportunity to sit down with you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, Adriana. It's so hard for me to call her Adriana. Like Dr. Tamez is.
Adriana's good.
Yeah, what I want to call you.
Thank you.
But Adriana, not everybody out here. First off, let's have a conversation. There's just like 500 friends watching
Sure.
us talk.
Hi, friends.
This is what we're going to do. But not everybody is familiar with Rice. So can you just give us an overview of Rice, who you all are, how many students you serve, and then we're gonna move and talk specifically about you and some of the things that make what you do so special.
Absolutely. And again, thank you for having me here today. Rice is one of the first generation charter schools systems in Texas. And so we've been around for a very long time. We have 12 campuses now, and we serve 2,200 students. We hope to continue to grow. We predominantly serve low-income students. We're over 95% low income. Limited English proficient is over 65. Our special education population is in the double digits. So we educate all. And so we are a community school model as well. So not only do we have our schools, but we have a community component to our schools as well.
Okay, we're gonna get deep into that. We're gonna get.
But that's who we are.
Okay, we're gonna get deep into that because it's such a special part of your model. But before we do that.
Oh, one more thing.
Yes, please.
We have schools in not only Houston, we're in Brownsville, Pasadena, Aldine, and Houston, Texas. So
that's a wide swath.
Yes,
that's a wide swath.
It is.
Okay, I love it. All right, let's give the audience a better sense of who you are, and then we'll get it, because that frames so much of the work that you do.
Absolutely.
Where are you from? Big family, small family?
Sure.
Yeah, what were your dreams as a child?
Oh, absolutely. And thank you for that question, because I always want to honor my parents. I'm first generation American. We are from Mexico. My parents are United States citizens. They became citizens, so I want to be sure.
Amen.
Yes, please know that. I'm being funny. But yes, so I'm first generation, 5 kids. Growing up, I saw how hard my parents worked to make sure that we focused on our studies.
Yes.
And that's all they wanted. They wanted to be sure that we got an education, that we took advantage of the opportunities that this nation was offering us. us. And so we, all of their kids are educated. I received my doctorate. There's another doctor in the family, an ENT surgeon, and everyone in their own field, right? But we wanted to make them proud. Growing up, that's all I wanted to do. And I come from a family of community leaders. So my parents were always helping those less fortunate than us. And we were very, very unfortunate in terms of working hard just to make ends meet. But there were others who didn't have a roof over their head. And so I grew up wanting to do as my parents did and to always make them proud. And I hope I'm doing that and will continue to do that. But growing up, I always wanted to, again, and I did at a very young age, work in the community, helping those less fortunate, and I always wanted to be a teacher. But when I graduated from high school, I got a scholarship. I'd like to say this, but I got a scholarship to the University of Texas, but my father did not give me permission to leave home. And so I stayed in Houston, and I thought, well, I'm going to rebel. I'm not going to school. I'm going to work and get into banking. So I did banking for 10 years. But guess what? I realized I needed that
education.
Yeah.
Right.
So I stopped being angry at my parents and got my education at the University of Houston, and then my doctorate at the University of Texas at Austin, and did all.
So you went back to Texas.
Yes.
You went back.
Exactly. Exactly. So, but I like telling that story as well because it's part of our culture. And my father had a hard time seeing me go, and so I stayed. But that's who I am, and that's who my family is.
Okay. One more question about your family, and then we'll move on. So there were 5 children. What order? What birth order
I'm
are
in
you?
the middle.
You're in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm number 3.
So if we had your 4 siblings up here, what would they tell us about you and the role that you play in the 5 siblings?
She thinks she's the boss of us. That's what they say. Yeah, Adriana thinks she's the boss. Even to this day, but I am. It's the role that I am. I'm very bossy. You know, we're having Christmas at my house. This is what you're bringing. This is what you're. It's okay. Anytime we're doing something, you know, who's picking up mom and dad? Adriana knows which one of us will do that. You know, who's taking them to their doctor's appointment? Well, it's your turn. You're going, Darryl. You know, so yeah, that's what they would say.
Okay, I love it. So role of CEO feels very appropriate for you.
It does.
So you are CEO of Rice, but you are leading schools and community centers.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about how that works together to provide a truly unique experience for the families that you are privileged to serve?
Absolutely. And yes, I am the superintendent of Rice Public Charter Schools here in Texas, and I'm the CEO of the Tejano Center, which is the nonprofit community-based organization that provides direct services to our families. And so before we were authorized to serve as a charter system, we created, and I'm a co-founder of both. Okay. So in '92, we started Tejano Center. Okay. So at this point now, we have 4 pillars. There's affordable housing, health equity, social services, and then the education piece, which is when we got authorized to serve as a charter, became a part of that pillar of education. Good. So it all works together. In the end, that connection between our students and their learning and the stability of their families, it goes hand in hand.
Yes, it does.
And we realize that the more we support our families, the better that our students do in the classroom. Yes. And it works. It works. People are, how do you do that? People ask, how do you do that? How do you do that? For us, it's just happened for so many years that it's second nature for us. So students will come and they'll say, my dad's abusing my mom. You know, it's chaos at home. And we have the Resolve program, which works with, you know, human trafficking victims or victims of abuse. And so that program, you know, kicks into action to support that family and remove the mom from the situation. That's an example. But to give you in terms of how it works. But it's very, very doable, and it's very important. And the fact that our authorizers are here, and it is about innovation and thinking about what we do differently. because it's important that we understand that it's not just about the student walking into the school to receive an education. Because of the students that we're serving, there's so much more to it.
Yes.
And we're very cognizant of that. So the fact that we have both this community school model, it's very powerful for us, and we see that in every day and everything we do.
So to understand this, so the Tejano Center exists in all of those communities where you just told us that you have schools.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And what comes first for you, the school or the community center?
We always lead with a community center.
Okay.
We always lead in our communities and when we're expanding with the services that we're providing. And then we talk about the schools and all the other programs, because it's all part of it. And so, but we lead with that. We lead with all of the services that are at your disposal. And our families are very grateful for that. I mean, we have students who will say, you see them on a Sunday helping others, and you ask that student, and it's happened, you ask that student, why are you here on a Sunday? I'm helping out just like you've helped me and my family, now we're giving back. And so we have a culture of paying it forward.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
That's beautiful. There are lots of community organizations out there that have started schools, or lots of schools that have started community wraparound supports. I think one of the things that is special about you all is everything is done at such a high level. So your student outcomes, right? Mary Ann was lauding some of the top charter schools. You are one of the top charter school from an outcome perspective in the state. And all of your community services are done at an incredibly high level.
Yes.
Can you talk to us about how those two are mutually reinforcing and how you do that? Because that's not something that we see across the country.
It's the culture that we create of high expectations with all of our programs, right? And so with our schools and our students, they're our priority, and serving them and their families. And the fact that we have the Texas Education Agency that supports this community school model gives us the flexibility to do that. Now, it's important as well to understand the finance piece, right?
Yep.
And keep that separate. And we do a darn good job with that. And TA has been great over the years.
Says the former banker.
Yes, that's the former banker. So we do a great job, because you have to understand that, right? If you're serving community, which is a lot of the family, the extended family then becomes far removed, that's different, right? We raise funds for that, and we do that, and we keep our accounting separate. So I wanted to throw that in there because it's important. It is TEA,
That's
right?
Marianne.
I know, Marion's over there. Yeah, so it's important, and we do that. But for us, again, it's understanding the importance of the connection between the fact that if we want our students to learn, to succeed, to thrive, we have to take care of the whole family. And we do that. And just recently we opened, for instance, when you talk about innovation, we build affordable apartments for affordable housing, so we focus on that. We built our last one just a few weeks ago. We cut the ribbon to a new apartment complex.
Congratulations.
Thank you. With the school right there on site. So the tenants, and it's an early childhood campus right there on site, and we're about to break ground on another. So again, that gives you an idea at yes, the high level, understanding that you're stepping out of the box, taking risks as well. You have to take risks, and that's what we do. And I think that's what makes it successful, is we're not afraid to take risks when it comes to ensuring that our students are excelling and our families are thriving.
Well, not taking risks, we know what those outcomes look like for our students and families. So I applaud that. You used a word when you talked about TEA. You said TEA supports. And that's an interesting word, because I'm not sure that if I traveled the country, all of the operators would use the word support when talking about their authorizer. That's really special. TEA has set a bar that they want to see for performance from you. How do you all think about the bar that TEA has set, and how you work with that accountability as a school operator?
You know, the bar is high. And I think one of the things, and we're lucky, and we talk about that, how lucky we are to be in Texas and to fall under the Texas Education Agency. The commissioner gets on calls with all the superintendents, and that happens weekly. I mean, that's pretty powerful. That's never happened before Commissioner Moran. And so that's very, very powerful. But they do set the bar high, but they're always there to listen to you, to help you succeed. They're not an I got you kind of, and I'm not just saying that because TEA is in the house. I'm really not. It's true. You know, really, I don't know what we do without TEA. They are there. You pick up the phone. They're very responsive. They get back to you. If you know you need help with a particular submission, compliance piece, or even not a compliance piece, a question regarding anything in any area, they're there. And so that makes what we do easier, because we get to focus on the work, and they're right there every step of the way, and it's true. I mean, and they're very responsive.
Yes,
so
that's great. One of the things that I think we hear about in the excellence equation, and we often talk about, is what does innovation look like in the charter sector? And I think a lot of times people's minds go to what's the latest ed tech thing that I can use.
Gadget.
What's the latest gadget that I can put in the hands of teachers and kids? You all think about innovation very differently at Rice.
We do.
Can you talk a little bit about how you think about that?
I'm going to give you an example. When COVID hit, and they sent everyone home, we automatically, and it's not me leading that, what makes it feel good is it's, again, the culture of you know, the system that we have in place, where we automatically think, wait a minute, our kids are behind to begin with. We can't have them out of school for too long, because every day is a wasted opportunity, right? They're hungry. And so we literally started the fundraising to get a computer. We went back to the schools and started gathering all the laptops and all, started having parents come through to pick up the laptops. This happened like probably a week after they shut us down. So we didn't wait 6 weeks, 9 weeks. We didn't do that. And we started feeding our kids a week after as well, not just our kids, their families. So it got bigger and bigger.
How were you feeding?
Our cafeteria lady said, Dr. Tamez, we want to open the cafeterias. I'm like, well, what are we going to do? Well, we can wear masks, we'll wear gloves, we'll, get us these shields, whatever we had to do. And this was before, again, that we were being sort of coached, if you will, on what you do and you don't do, right? And I thought, let's do it. Talk to the board. I wasn't going to fear the fact that, we were going to get in trouble. We still didn't understand the COVID thing, but I thought, okay, if we protected ourselves and they picked up their food in their cars, then it would work. And it did. And then people from the Houston Independent School District, from all the districts, so we had lines from one freeway to the other, and our cafeteria was, feeding hot meals to not only students, but their siblings and their families, and we did that, and we raised funds for that. And we did that for a while until we realized that, okay, it had been after that, our students were already back. There was a hybrid model, although we started the virtual learning a week into it, so we never stopped. So I think that's why as well we didn't fall as behind as we could have with what happened with the pandemic. But that's an example too and I remember standing at my window looking out the door, and it had already been a few months, and I thought, okay, these lines are still going. Our students were already back in school, but the lines were still there, food lines, right? And I'm thinking, okay, I think it's time to rethink this. So we sat down, and in our strategic plan, we had been wanting to open a mercado. And now we call it La Tiendita. And we wanted to open not a food pantry, but a real little store that people can come to, but not just so that we can give you a bag of groceries, but to talk to you about why you're in the situation you're in. Okay, what can we do to help you? So it's case management. Yep. And now we have 4 La Tienditas across Houston, and we're opening more and more. But again, that happened during the pandemic. Then you do what you need to do. You're being innovative. How do I feed these families, these kids, our kids and their families? How do we continue to educate them and not skip a beat while this is happening? And then from that, the La Tiendita came to be, right? Because those lines would be never ending. And why, it didn't make sense to me. We had to find out who was coming through those lines and why are you still coming for food? Why is that food insecurity still there for you and your family? And so, but yeah, that's that. I want to give you examples of what we do that's innovative and different when it comes to that.
I love the innovation. You all are using innovation as another word for wrapping your arms completely around your students, your families, and your community.
Yeah.
That's really, really special. And I think a different take on innovation than a lot of us have seen.
It is, and we saw the NAAP results, and locally we know that gap still persists, especially with our students who are underserved, and so we know that, right? And so, but behind that data, you have students that want to achieve, you have families that want to thrive, you have educators that are committed to their work, and so the question's not whether or not our students can achieve, can learn. It's about whether or not our systems are set up to meet the needs of our students so that they can achieve.
Please say that again.
Yeah.
That is...
But it's true. It's true. It's not about that. It's not about whether or not our students can learn or achieve. Are our systems set up to help them do so? That's what we need to tell ourselves.
Yeah. Amen to that. Amen to that.
Yes.
When you think about the learning that's happening inside of the Rice schools, what is something that you are most proud of that your students are accomplishing on a day in and day out basis or on an annual basis?
I can talk to, okay, well, they're reading, their math, I can talk about all of that. But for us, we're growing community leaders. That's what we're doing. We are growing community leaders, and that's important for me as a leader, that these young people understand their role as they grow and enter the workforce to give back. And then we're all role models for them in that regard. But that's what I'm most proud of, is we are growing community leaders. These young people volunteer. They volunteer at the Tejano Center. They see the work that we do, the impact that we have on those that are less fortunate throughout various times in their lives, or need we don't call it a handout, it's a hand up. And that's what we say at the Tejano Center.
I like that.
Rice.
I like that framing.
It's not a handout.
I like
We're giving you a hand up. And so you ask a student, they'll tell you that. But that's what I'm most proud of, is we are growing community leaders, strong community leaders that are going to give back to their community. And we already see that. You mentioned earlier about, or someone mentioned earlier about a CEO, a student. Was she a student?
Yeah, she was a student.
And now she's a CEO. We have many students that are teachers at our schools. They come back and are teaching at our schools. And that's what I mean about that culture of giving back and wanting to do that. So that's what I'm most proud of, because I can get into all the other and what I see when I walk into classrooms and so forth. But there's a lot of, I'm very proud of our students, because they understand and they're growing they're growing, and they're going to be that adult that is going to understand the importance of working in your community so that you lift others up as well.
You saying that, it strikes me that so often when we ask leaders about, or we ask in general about what are people proud of schools, we recite the stats. The interesting thing is, in your answer, you just assume that the stats were good. Mm-hmm. The kids knew how to read at high levels. They knew how to do math at high levels. They graduated. And it's really about the aspiration for who they become as young adults that you're anchored on. I hope that we get to a point where we can start having conversations where, when we're defining what we want for young people, the baseline, the floor, is that they're performing at high levels in math.
And that's understood.
High levels in ELA. They're graduating, and that's just understood, and we're focused on the young people that they want to become.
It's our future. It's our future. We're setting up these young people, right, to lead in whatever capacity. I say community leader. It could be in an elected official capacity. It could be in any capacity. but one that is going to help their community where they came from thrive.
Yeah.
And that's important for me as a leader.
That's a beautiful thing. Okay, couple more questions.
Sure.
And then I think we got to get out of here.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I can do this.
But I'm enjoying this.
I could do this for a long time.
And these are comfy.
The chairs are great. I'm like, actually, the chairs are great, and I love
the table too.
Yeah, I'm like, how can I get that for my living room? Different story. Okay. A lot of the authorizers that are here in our audience today, they are working to try to hold schools accountable and giving them space to innovate. As an operator who's working with a very good authorizer at TEA, what would you say to somebody who's sitting in the authorizer seat about how they work with schools? Like, what do you wish that authorizers knew about what you need as a school operator and leader?
I think for me, what's important for an authorizer to do is to trust, right? You have to trust. There has to be communication, there has to be trust. And also, I think that especially now, authorizers need to encourage creativity, encourage it, and take away the fear factor. Because a lot of times people don't want to step out of the box. They're afraid to. It's almost like we're doing things. And so charters were always meant to be different. So what's different about us? For us, it's the community school model, right? Every charter is different. But encouraging the innovation, because it's one thing to say it, it's another thing to do it. And for schools to feel comfortable and safe doing it. So, if I'm going to try this, it's scary. And so I think that it's important for authorizers to communicate that it's okay, that we can trust each other, but we want you to step out of the box. We want you to do things differently, to push the envelope, and really understanding, the authorizers understanding the communities that the charters are going into. The school systems and all are required to do their feasibility studies, their market analysis, all of that, right?
Yes.
But as an authorizer, understanding that as well. So if you're going into a particular community, well, how are you going to you're going to help the students, but how are you going to help that community as well by your school being there, right? And your operator needs to be able to answer that. But I think in the end, it's trust, and it's open communication, and it's not fearing, stepping out and doing things differently that are going to have an incredible, because when you do that, when you take that in account, the accountability, we always talk about accountability, it's compliance, but to me, it's more of a commitment, right? You've got the accountability piece. It's about transparency, owning your results. It's that piece, the consistency that all of your campuses are aligned in what they're doing, right? And so it's all of those pieces, and then in the end, it's just making sure that there's equity, that all students are learning, and you can do that by being even to a greater degree if authorizers are encouraging schools to step out of that box and do things creatively and innovatively.
That's great. That's great. I love that. I love that answer. You said something in there that I wanna pull through. You said a school really understanding the community that it's going into. Tell us, I think, because you all are so special, when you think about a new community where you want to open a school, what's the process that you all go through? What do you do? Because having seen this and witnessed it, it's very, very different, but it's so special.
And the first thing we do, and what we should do for any charter, if we're going into a new community, is get to know all of the community leaders. Who are they? Whether they're the elected officials or in your community, we do that, and we do a really great job at that. So we get to we start building relationships with all of the leaders in that community. Who are they? Where are they? Let's start attending their whether it's their neighborhood meetings, whether it's the elected officials and the meetings that they're holding, their town halls. And so we're very present. We spread out, including myself, and we go to all of it. And then we start doing pop-ups. So the Tejano Center starts popping up in the community to make the community aware of the services that we're offering, right? And of course, the schools as well. But in the education pillar, we also have a 0 to 2 program. We work with pregnant mothers and their babies. You know, we have adult education, the Nova Academy. So a lot of our parents come and our students at the Nova Academy, and we do the Nova Academy in partnership with Houston City College. And so again, making the community aware of all of this that's coming. And it's coming soon. We'll be, oh, you mean you're coming? You're going to open a school here? Yes, we are. And so it just starts making the community aware. But that's when I said earlier about leading with Tejano Center, that's what I mean about that. So that's how we do that. But it's building relationships. You have to do that. I mean, that's 101. You have to. So.
Love it. Okay. I'm watching our clock count us down here, and the light's going to turn red momentarily. So I want to go back to the beginning of this story. You talked about you being the CEO of your siblings and always wanting to help out and having that streak running through you as a young person. And I want to merge it with the story of Noble that I shared earlier, that there is somebody who was a student and is now the CEO. So when we fast forward Rice, how many ever years, hopefully a long number of years before you leave the seat, but when you leave the seat, can you tell us about a student who is sitting in one of your schools today, or an alum who is teaching in one of your schools today, that you believe is going to be the person who's going to be sitting on this stage leading the organization?
Wow, and we have so many of those, but you're asking me to pick one.
You got to pick one.
Okay.
You got to pick one.
We do have one, and she is one of our best teachers, and she is that young person that I see. She's teaching now. She wants to be a principal, so she's in line for that. But she is that person that possesses all of the heart, the knowledge, and the desire to want to rise to that level. So I absolutely have her in mind. I don't want to say her name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Others may see that.
Yeah. No. Yes.
Others may see
what about me? What about? Yeah. No. But and there's several. But there's this one young lady that's outstanding. That she will. She will. Whether it's this seat or another. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. All right. And then final question. I'm going to take more than the 2 seconds that it's giving me.
Okay.
I think you've talked a number of times about trust between you and TEA, between you and communities. And so as we walk off this stage, what is it about trust and building trust that you'd want to share with the audience and with others who may be listening in on this that has been such an important part of what you all built?
I think for us, and I'll look at our friends out in the audience, but I think for us, especially over the years and everything we've been through, whether it's a disaster or the pandemic, all of that, and in the end, it really boils down to trust and trusting whether it's your authorizer or your partners or the people that you work with, whatever it may be. But it all boils down to that trust and the trust that we have in one another. I don't think anything is possible without it. And so for us, again, having TEA, for instance, as our authorizer and supporter, because that's what we call them. We never call them our authorizer. It's always, if there's an issue, call TEA. Oh, what if they're not? They are not an I got you organization, guys. We trust the Texas Education Agency, and that's what makes it special, is that we trust. But it boils down to that. So.
Great.
And it takes work to make sure that's the case. Mm-hmm.
Well, I know you had 1,000 places that you could have been this morning. I want to thank you for coming and spending the morning with us.
And again, thank you for inviting me. Seriously, I've enjoyed this, and what a powerful group of people here making things happen. So thank you for everything that you do. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Dr. Adriana Tamez, thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to Community Conversations with NACSA wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to check out the Charter School Growth Fund's podcast, Leader to Leader. See you next time for more stories, strategies, and voices from the field.